You're lying in bed after a full day of being around people. People you love, people you chose to spend time with, and you feel it. That heavy, uncomfortable feeling in your chest. Guilt. Because all you want right now is to be alone, to have space, to not talk to anyone. And part of you feels like something's wrong with you for needing that. Like you should want more connection, not less. But here's the truth. You're not broken, you're not selfish, and you're not alone. There's real psychology behind why some people feel guilty for needing alone time. And once you understand it, you'll stop punishing yourself for a need that's completely valid. So let's talk about what's actually happening when you feel guilty for needing space. Because this isn't about not loving people. It's about how your nervous system processes social energy and what happens when that system gets depleted. First, let's be clear about what alone time actually is. It's not rejection. It's not avoidance. Alone time is restoration. It's your nervous system returning to baseline after the work of being socially engaged. And that work is real. Even when you're with people you love, even when the interaction is positive, your brain is still working. You're reading social cues, you're managing your responses, you're regulating your energy to match the environment. And all of that takes effort, invisible effort that most people don't recognize as labor. So when you need alone time, you're not being antisocial. You're recovering from work most people don't even know they're doing. Here's what makes this complicated. You've been taught that needing alone time means something's wrong, that healthy people want constant connection, that if you loved someone enough, you wouldn't need breaks from them. And that messaging creates guilt, because your need for space starts to feel like evidence that you're failing at relationships, that you're not loving enough, not present enough, not grateful enough. But that's not true. Your need for alone time doesn't reflect how much you care about people. It reflects how your nervous system processes stimulation, and those are completely different things. Now, let's talk about why this guilt happens. One reason is learned beliefs about availability. Maybe you grew up in an environment where your worth was tied to how accessible you were, where being a good person meant always being there for others, where taking time for yourself was seen as selfish, and your nervous system internalized that. It learned that your needs come last, that other people's comfort matters more than your own restoration. So now, even when you're alone, even when you're finally getting the space you need, there's this voice telling you you're doing something wrong. And that voice isn't your intuition, it's conditioning. Here's another layer. For some people, guilt about needing alone time is actually a nervous system threat response. Your brain has learned that setting boundaries, that saying no, that prioritizing your needs leads to conflict, to disappointment, to people being upset with you. And conflict feels dangerous, so your nervous system tries to prevent it by making you feel guilty before you even ask for space. It's trying to keep you safe by keeping you available. But that safety comes at a cost, because you end up abandoning yourself to avoid disappointing others, and that's not sustainable. But here's what people don't understand. Guilt isn't always accurate. Guilt is supposed to signal that you've done something wrong, that you've violated your values. But if you feel guilty for needing alone time, that guilt isn't telling you the truth. It's not reflecting reality. It's reflecting fear. Fear of being seen as selfish. Fear of being too much or not enough. Fear that if people knew how much space you actually need, they'd leave. And that fear, that's what's driving the guilt, not the alone time itself. Here's where it gets deeper. Sometimes guilt about needing alone time is actually grief in disguise. Grief that you can't be the person other people expect you to be. Grief that connection, even good connection, costs you more than it costs other people. Grief that you have to choose between being present for others and being okay within yourself. And that grief is real, it's painful, and it deserves acknowledgement. Because wanting to be different than you are, Wanting to need less alone time, that's not the same as actually being able to function that way. And pretending you can is what creates burnout. Now, let's talk about what happens when you ignore the need for alone time. You start operating on empty. You become irritable, overwhelmed. You lose access to patience, to clarity, to the parts of yourself that make you feel like you. And then you feel guilty about that too. Guilty for being short with people. Guilty for not enjoying moments you think you should enjoy. Guilty for feeling drained when everyone else seems fine. But here's the truth. You're not drained because something's wrong with you. You're drained because you've been running on reserves for too long. And no amount of guilt will change the fact that your system needs rest. Here's the shift. Your need for alone time isn't a character flaw. It's information. It's your nervous system telling you what it needs to function well. And ignoring that information doesn't make you more loving or more connected. It makes you less available to yourself. And when you're not available to yourself, you can't actually show up fully for anyone else. You're just performing presence while feeling depleted inside. And that's not intimacy. That's exhaustion pretending to be connection. But here's the nuance. Not all guilt is bad. Sometimes guilt is trying to tell you something important. And the question you need to ask is this: am I feeling guilty because I'm genuinely neglecting someone who needs me? Or am I feeling guilty because I've been taught that my needs are less important than everyone else's? And those are very different things. One is legitimate, the other is conditioning. And learning to tell the difference, that's where the work is. Here's another question worth asking. Are the people in your life actually upset that you need alone time? Or are you assuming they are? Because sometimes the guilt you feel isn't coming from anyone else. It's coming from your own internal narrative, from the story you're telling yourself about what needing space means. And that story might not be true. The people who truly care about you, they're not going to punish you for having limits. They're going to respect them. And if they don't, that's information about them, not about you. Here's the compassionate truth. If you feel guilty for needing alone time, it's because you're carrying beliefs that were never yours to begin with. Beliefs about what makes someone worthy. Beliefs about what love is supposed to look like. Beliefs about how much you're supposed to give before you're allowed to rest. And those beliefs are hurting you because they're asking you to betray yourself to prove your value to others. And that's not love, that's performance. And performing connection while abandoning your own needs will never create the closeness you're actually looking for. So if you're someone who feels guilty for needing alone time, here's what I want you to remember. Your need for space doesn't make you selfish. It makes you human. It makes you someone who understands that you can't give from an empty place, that rest isn't optional, that being alone isn't the same as being lonely. And the guilt you feel, that's not proof that you're doing something wrong. It's proof that you've been taught to prioritize everyone else's comfort over your own well-being. And unlearning that takes time. It takes practice. It takes choosing yourself even when it feels uncomfortable. The next time you feel that guilt rising, I want you to pause. And I want you to ask yourself this. If a friend told me they needed alone time, would I judge them? Would I think less of them? Or would I understand? And if you'd offer them compassion, why are you withholding it from yourself? Because you deserve the same kindness you give to others. You deserve space without shame. You deserve rest without guilt. And you deserve relationships where your needs aren't treated as inconveniences. Here's the truth most people won't tell you. The people who make you feel guilty for needing alone time, they're not the people who truly understand you. And trying to shrink your needs to fit their expectations will only make you smaller. It won't make you more connected, it'll just make you resentful. So give yourself permission. Permission to need what you need. Permission to rest without justifying it. Permission to be someone who requires solitude to stay whole. Because that's not a flaw, that's self-awareness. And it's one of the most valuable things you can offer yourself and the people you care about. So here's my question for you. When do you feel the most guilt about needing alone time? And what do you think that guilt is really trying to protect you from? Drop a comment and share. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And if this video made you feel less alone in this, consider subscribing. We explore the psychology of being human in ways that honor who you actually are. Next time, we're talking about people who overthink every social interaction. You won't want to miss it. Thanks for being here. I'll see you in the next video.